that I found over the course of my career is what we call unconscious bias, which is something that a lot of people will not admit in their lives, but it is real. The society that we live in believes that that industry is a male-dominated industry, and it should be. And so at the back of their minds, if we are working and we're about to hire an electrical engineer, a mechanical engineer, they are expecting a male candidate. They don't say it, they don't, you know, it's just an unconscious bias which is there. And I remember in my days as HR director getting responses after sending CVs of candidates for specific jobs, getting responses like, oh, I saw the CVs you sent me, but you know, that other one, Doreen, she's a woman. Like, okay, yes, she's a woman. So is there a problem with that? And then they will come up with really valid reasons why a woman cannot do that job. I mean, they will tell you some of the weirdest things a person has to do in a specific job. And so that unconscious bias for me is one of the biggest things. And so just training the organization to understand that we all have these biases that we carry. And whenever we walk into an interview room to look for people to join our organization, we first of all have to admit that we have that bias and do our best to make sure that that bias doesn't cloud our judgment in the process of hiring, so that it completely eliminates anyone who is different or who doesn't fit the mental model that we have. I think for me, if that can be done, it can eliminate just the entry barriers that women have. Because, you know, before you even get into the organization itself, there's just a barrier of just entering into the organization. And then once you are in there, you know, some of the challenges again are around the fact that because your bosses are male, your colleagues are male, everybody else is male, you are trying to navigate a politically charged male environment when you are female. And so there's sort of maybe a number of nuances that you could miss as a woman, unless you have a mentor who has been through it, understands, and can lead you through it. The mentor can be female, can be male, it doesn't matter. But a lot of women that have succeeded in the cement industry have had very strong mentors that have helped them to navigate the construction industry and to be able to succeed. Without that support, a lot of women will give up because they cannot deal with the environment and the pressures that it presents. The other challenges, which are very practical, which I found when I joined Lafarge Zimbabwe in 2011, I remember, believe it or not, there were no female bathrooms except in customer service. And it was because they were not, you know, in the cement plants, there were no females. So they didn't have in the cement plants any female bathrooms. And it took me having to have a crisis in the plant where I needed to use a bathroom and walked for hours to find one in customer service for us to realize that, you know, this environment is not built for women. It's a small thing, but it tells you and it reminds you that this is not your place. You're not supposed to be here. So that was, you know, something in the environment that we had to work around to change. And then the other things, which are also, again, very subtle, is that the cement industry is not the cleanest industry in the world, as you all know. And as a result, it presents its own challenges for the maternal role that a woman has to play. So you found that a lot of women work in the cement industry. They normally give up their jobs or resign at the point at which they have a baby or they're pregnant, because the work environment is not suitable for you to be a breastfeeding mother and working. Because somewhere in there, if you're a breastfeeding mother, you have to express your milk at work, you have to keep it somewhere safe, you have to bring it home for your child to drink the next day, etc. And I mean, African culture dictates that you need to like in Zimbabwe particularly dictates, you need to breastfeed your child for a minimum of 6 months and above. And so your in-laws put a lot of pressure that you need to continue to expressly breastfeed. And so you find that women just decide, this is not worth it. I'm not going to stay here and try to do this and balance it out. I will leave. And it's a small thing, but it's not inclusive. And women cannot survive in that environment. If you don't have a lactation facility at your cement factory today, I'll tell you something. All the women that work for you that get pregnant have to express milk in the toilet. It's the reality for their children. They have to do it in the toilet and take it home for the child to drink and continue like that. So when they're faced with that choice of continuing to do that and continuing to work, usually they give up. We in Lafarge Zimbabwe found a solution around that and did put a lactation facility for ladies, which it didn't cost a lot to do, but it made a huge difference for the women that work for us. You know, it's a small little room packed with the fridge, packed with the chair. And what we do is we stopped giving women flowers and fruit baskets whenever they had children as a gift from the company, and started to give them electric breast pumps, which was for us a sign of our commitment for them to continue to breastfeed and work for us once they had their baby. So, you know, those are some of the practical day-to-day things that just make the environment not inclusive for women when they're there. And then, of course, there are challenges around equal pay, which are also real. Where women have to fight to earn the same as their counterparts in the industry. And unless companies put in place policies that ensure that there is no discrimination in terms of how much one is paid based on gender, those things will happen without people even realizing it because of the unconscious bias, which I mentioned at the beginning. So I think for me, those are the main challenges that I'd like to highlight at this point. Thank you.